Coming up on today's episode.
You know, like I said, this show is really bringing up some memories that I hadn't thought about in so long. So I don't know if I should be thanking y'all or cursing y'all out. Now I need some therapy.
I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be going to sleep with this on my mind. You know?
And another thing.
Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Melanin Movement. I'm Kaya, also known as the themelaninmvmt, and today we're diving into a topic that's very close to our heart. Navigating blended Black families. This is our story, and we can't wait to share it with you. So speaking of Black families, because I believe that we are the only ones on the scene right now doing it how we do. An all Black family cast. I don't think anybody else out there is doing it. I think we have cornered the market on this.
Yeah,
that's probably true.
But I know.
Yeah. I agree.
So if anybody else try to pop up after and talk about they doing this, they bit off of us. So first in, I got my sister, Keisha.
Hello.
Next in, we got EVE.
Hey, y'all.
Next in, we got Shauna Dawn. And last but not least, we got the C, the H, the R, the I, the S. It's Chris. So, blended families come with their unique set of challenges and beautiful moments. Hence, one of our cast members that has not joined the meeting yet. So in this video, we'll be sharing our personal journey, the ups, the downs, and the lessons that we've learned along the way. Whether you're part of a blended family or curious about our experience, we hope that this story resonates with you and offers the same valuable insights. So I think we should start with the foundation, if you will. And the foundation of our blended family is our Father.
Art in heaven.
Yes, we're going to call him LC.
Yes,
we're going to call him LC.
Why you said who are in? That was amazing.
That was right on time.
Fell right into it. That was amazing.
That was right on time.
I was like,
that's right on time. So,
well, can I just say, I don't know if he's the foundation, but he's the
link.
Center.
He's the link between all of us.
Right.
So
he's ground zero.
He's ground zero.
He is ground zero.
So LC, for lack of better words, is our father, and between the siblings from LC, his offspring, it is 13 of us.
Wow. 12.
There was 12.
11. Sure it's not 13?
Yeah.
No, it's 12.
It's 12.
I count all the time to make sure I got everybody together.
Okay, so let me rephrase that. From him, we get 12 of us.
Mm-hmm.
And from the 12 of us that are living, God rest one of our brothers' soul. We have me, Shauna, and Eve. Mm-hmm. And from our brothers, our oldest brother, he gave us a bomb sister. And that's Keish. And
over 25 years.
Over 25. Like this is not something that we just like, oh, this is my sister. No,
that's my sister.
We got years in the game.
Yeah,
we even told our brother that if y'all was to ever break up, we gonna jump the other girl. Like we already said.
Right.
There is no bros before hoes. No.
We like
she gonna get jumped every time we see her.
You can't leave, Keith.
Sorry,
It's
Keish.
not happening.
You might have to blink twice for someone to come and save you.
Yeah, ain't gonna be no threatening with the physical. So from our brother, we have Keish, right? And from me, my offspring is Chris.
Mhm.
And Chris is my offspring from a previous marriage. So now I have Chris and a new husband and another son. So now that's another blended family. So I go from one Vitamix to a Ninja Bullet. You know what I mean? We blending up out this piece. You know, this is what we do. We blend. So, and Noe would be our brother from my husband. That's my husband's brother. I hope it makes sense. And then when you see Danny is our brother from LC. You could tell by the forehead. You could tell by the forehead. When he did that show, and I seen that forehead on screen, I said, Lord.
Don't you talk about my brother like that.
You can't hide the forehead. But I told you, when somebody tried to brag on us on TikTok, and she was just like, yeah, but your forehead though. But your forehead. I'm just like,
but I'm like, but you watching me though.
Yeah. She's talking about, yeah, but your forehead though. And I'm just like, you know.
It just means you got big dreams.
You know what I'm talking about?
I never heard it like that.
You know what? I'm going to use that from now on. Thank you for healing my childhood.
No, because I've never, like, my forehead has been my forehead for so long. I don't have an issue with it.
Let me tell you something.
It is what it is.
You know who mastered the whole big forehead? Rihanna.
Oh.
I remember when it came out, they was like dogging it out with that forehead, girl.
And now?
You don't even see the forehead anymore. She got so much billion.
When you make so much money that people can't see your floor,
It's
or what people
$5
feel is
billion.
your floor,
Coming.
that's when you know.
$5 billion.
That's when you know you're winning.
Yes.
So grab a cup of tea, get comfortable, and join us as we explore the dynamics, the love, and the resilience that define our blended Black family. Let's get started. Let's get it started. So, Keish, since you were first in, I know that you come from a blended family as well.
Yes.
So, what was your experience and how did you navigate that?
Well, so growing up, I had a stepfather. And so when I tell people I have 4 kids, I don't say I have 3 daughters and a stepson. My stepson is my son. And I hate the word step because it just sounds like ugh. I cringe when I hear the word step. Because the memories of being a stepchild was horrible. I hated my stepfather. So I used the foundation of my history, my stepfather, on how I dealt with my blended family in my marriage. And one of the things that was I did, because of the relationship I had with my stepfather, I didn't really discipline my bonus son. I might have disciplined him one time on purpose, because there's this thing when it comes down to I had an evil stepfather that made a difference. He didn't love me. He hated my guts. He hated the relationship I had with my mother. So every time me and my mom would hug, he would just like he wouldn't even see. My mom would be facing another direction, and he'd be in the background like ilk. Like, so I had to live with that kind of asshole. Yeah, like damn. So and every time he made it his business to make sure that every time I deserved to There were moments where I got beatings and I didn't deserve to get beaten. So I used that history with my stepfather on how I was part of the raising of my bonus son. And now he's what, 36 years old? So he's a grown man. But he probably has that one memory in his mind when I had to go off on him about something, and I left it at that. I let his father raise, do all the disciplining. So then moving forward to the whole blended family amongst you guys, I'm actually intrigued by you guys, and that's why I love being with y'all for over 25 years, because I came from, not only did I have an evil stepfather, but I had no siblings. So one of the reasons why he hated me, because he couldn't have kids. So he kept blaming my mother and saying that something must be wrong with her uterus. And then when they finally checked, it was him. He had the problem. So I remember growing up as a kid, like when I got older, like in my teenage years, I always, this is funny. I would say, well, Dad, like I got to make sure I find somebody that has brothers and sisters, because I don't want my child not to have any aunties or uncles.
No, you got a whole million
And
tribes.
now, Lord
They got
Jesus.
a plethora of
You
aunts and
got
uncles.
a
There's
whole
no problem with
classroom.
that. And so, you guys have and I know you're gonna tell your story, but you guys have a dynamic, blended family. And one of the things I kept saying to you guys for the longest, I don't know if you remember me telling you this, but if LC didn't do what he did, none of you would be here. So God took his sins and made it into blessings. So I
That
think
was
LC,
deep. That was deep.
It's a word.
Yeah, that was a word. Thank you for that.
you're welcome. And then you guys, what I love about the blended family that you guys have is that y'all never once, from my angle, say, well, that's my half sister and that's my half brother. You all look at each other.
Never.
I'm getting goosebumps. You all look at each other as full brothers and sisters, and I appreciate that as well.
What our nephew say at Elsie's homegoing? Because the steps is in the
Yep.
house.
He's like,
Steps
well,
is in the
and to this
house.
day, I still quote that. I quote it faithfully.
Yeah,
That
that
was a
was
good one.
mommy that's
Right.
Yes,
yeah.
but our nephew
Mommy
had to
that
hone
said
in
it.
on it, you know, over and over and over again. Yes.
Bless his heart.
Bless his sweetheart. But uh Eve, I know you came in next, and I know you have a blended story. I'm trying to cross my
blended.
eyes because
Blended.
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 yeah, you have some hurdles that you had to deal with, but if you look at our situation, it kind of, and I referenced to it before, it kind of is like a Nick Cannon situation,
Yeah.
because we have a bunch of,
7
yeah, we have 7 mothers
mothers. Yeah.
for the 12 children.
Mm-hmm.
So Eve.
Yeah. So my story, well, it feels weird, like, because I was going over like everybody within our siblings, and I realized I'm one of the only ones that do not have a full sister. All of my siblings on my mom's side and my dad's side are my half siblings. So it's just like I always like, even like I will always look at you and Shauna, and I'm like, yo, I wish I had that. Like I wish I had someone that had both the mom and the dad. Like you get a better understanding of each other because you guys both went through the same type of, thing in a way. But then on my mom's side, she has uh well, it's 4 of us. So 4 of us with 3 different fathers. Um, and that was also a crazy dynamic as well. And it's like crazy because it's like, even though y'all would sit there and say, like, I'm the youngest out of all of you guys. So it was always like dealing, like, I could honestly say when people be like, oh, how many brothers and sisters you have? I'm like, I'm the youngest out of like 15, like legit. And I'm like this, they be like, really? I'm like, yeah, the age range. And when I say the age range, age. They were like, oh, so my father is your brother. I say, yeah, that's why I don't really think of your parents like, like mother figures in a way. It's sad to say because I always grew up with you guys. So like in a way of like being around you guys. So it's just like it's a hurdle. But then also I was adopted by my aunt that had kids. So it felt like we were a blended family then because we were
That's
raised
why
as
I was trying to
children.
cross my eyes because you had the blended and then the blended on the
Blended,
blended.
yeah. So, and that came with its hurdles because my aunt, God bless her, she adopted me at a young age when my mom died. So it's just like, it was always also tough then because it seemed like we, like kind of bombarded, but not bombarded, like her kids had to also deal with the trauma of bringing other kids in and splitting up their attention. So it was always like a battle within the house for attention and everything. So, but you know what, at the end of the day, I'm so grateful because like I say, I have friends, but you guys are my friends. So it's just like, like I have a bunch of friends that I know I can always call on, depend on. And the great thing about all of you is that everybody is assigned to a specific thing. Like I know to go to Kaya for this. I know to go to Shauna for this. If I need a hug for just one of my big brothers, I know to go to this person. If I need someone to tell me the truth and tell it like it is, I'll go to that brother or so like that. So it just makes my heart full because like I wouldn't trade it for the world. Like we always think like how Keish said, like it's the sin or whatever, but it definitely turned into a blessing because I can't imagine my life without you guys, honestly. So I love you, sugars. That's why I was like, we need to get up soon. I miss you guys.
I love you too, sugar.
Yeah.
Well, before Shauna, Chris, before you go, we have our on-site correspondents in the waiting room.
Okay.
So
Okay.
we're gonna bring Noe in.
Hey, how's it going out there on the field?
That's how you stop your time.
What am I?
Shauna,
Yes.
we have similar stories, but you also have blendation and in marriage. You have blendation in marriage. Your first marriage?
My first one?
Yeah, you were blended. He had children.
Oh, I don't count that marriage. That was I don't.
Oh,
that
Jesus.
He's like, that was my little friend. You know when the
I
parents,
don't
they be like,
count
oh, they
that.
got a little friend.
Edit.
When
Y'all was together long enough for you to consider yourself blended.
2 years? Sorry, I was
Kaya
more
need
girls
this
than
girl
Chris.
is going to therapy.
When I was married, I was young.
Listen, we knew that we was talking about blendation. I thought that everybody knew.
Why
She
would
looks
that be?
What the fuck is you talking about?
I'm like, why would that be a
Yeah,
thing?
I don't.
It wasn't.
I didn't think that. Yeah.
I didn't think that at all. He does not exist.
say.
He has not been a thought in my
Put it on Kaya's lap to
atmosphere
remind you.
ever. If you are gonna speak about an ex, it would have been
Look at you,
the
Kaya.
last one.
Whole wound.
But
Tell them how you really feel.
first
trauma.
It did not exist. He is a non-motherfucking factor. I'm just saying. I'm sorry.
Kaya, you did that.
I was just like, huh? Where is this coming from?
I was gonna say,
sorry.
I was like, Shauna, you haven't looked at said
I apologize. I
I
apologize.
just talked about how you I don't know this. Like,
I apologize. Please share your story with us.
I think you need to start over with Shauna.
Shauna was like, don't be
Maybe
speaking for
you
me.
need to skip Shauna. She gets
I don't need you to say it. I don't need you to say it.
steam coming from my head. Go to Chris and come back to Shauna.
I apologize if it
Like
if it came off a certain way.
I mean, it was a little sharp. It was a little sharp.
No, but that is not. I am going to be
That's a good takeout for TikTok.
50. to be 50. That happened when I was 23, and I was divorced at the same age of Chris. So it's like it just didn't exist. It was there, it was done, and
Well, for the
I wish I
viewers,
was around
if
for that.
if you want to know more about Shauna's story, go back to one of the first episodes of A Maven's Tale, and she tells all about her former marriage, divorce, cheating, and all that stuff.
yes,
It's juicy. It's
it's
juicy.
just stuff that I don't talk about.
Do tell.
So my blended family, my only blended family, is this. This is it. So me and Kaya have the same mother and father. So just as an FYI for those who don't know. But I have to say the foundation of the reason why we have this is because of the four OG moms. They put their feelings aside that they had for their baby daddy, and they made sure that we stayed a family. So they never said the word like half brother, half sister. It was just that this is your brother. Like my two older siblings would, one would hold my hand and the other would push Kaya in the stroller. When we were, my oldest sister and I, our birthdays are 5 days apart. No, 4 days apart. And I think it was my first birthday and her fifth birthday. My mom made us this same dress. So it just goes to show that even from back then, it was just always us. Because the way I see it is God forbid I need a kidney or some bone marrow. They won't say this is your half brother. Like they gonna say, let go of your brother to see if he's a match. So I just, this is what it just is, which I then think helped to then make the blended family that Chris has just easier, just because this just is.
I would say that I'm going to be completely transparent and honest and say that when I separated and divorced my ex, the transition into blendation, it was not streamless. It was not fine tuned. It wasn't smooth.
Child. Sorry. Got triggered.
And it may have caused some emotional trauma for Chris. I'm just gonna put it out there. So, Chris, go ahead.
Like you said, I mean, there could be a whole episode on just the psychological aspects of it. Not to say that it was so horrible, but just in the things that you kind of learn and kind of things that you pick up on as you mature, get older, how it affects you as you get older, things of that nature. But I'll be succinct in saying that it's character building. Especially when you have two separate kind of sides to things, two separate ideologies, two separate experiences, and kind of having to navigate that, as someone who has to travel between both sides. It definitely is a character building experience. But the silver lining in that is that you kind of learn, for your own sake, and like I said, through maturation, how to navigate not just life but relationships due to that. But in terms of how it relates to our entire blended family, um again, it's just a matter of learning communication just as an adult, and kind of the importance of family, um and the importance of communication between family. How that if there's a lack of communication, or if there's, you know, um good communication, you see how that affects you as a person, and you see how that affects you as a family. um so yeah, I'll say that on the matter. But again, that's we could have a whole nother episode on just the ins and outs of what it means to be a part of a blended family, and things of that nature. So
Well, that's actually the topic of discussion. So, I mean, if you want to
no, but I don't want to sit here and
expound a
discuss
little,
my
you know,
experience for the next 20-30 minutes.
no,
Like,
nobody's saying for the next
necessary.
hour or so, but you know, if there was any other little pebbles or gems that you wanted to, you know.
I think it factored greatly into my maturation, not just as an individual, but as a man, more specifically. Um, because
How so?
um as a child, your relationship with your father matters a great deal to you. Um, especially as a young man, you know what I'm saying? That relationship with your father is pretty important, especially in terms of figuring out who you are, what you want to do, who you model yourself after. Um, so once you go from having two dads, it's just like, it there becomes a bit of an internal conflict there. And you kind of have to, again, navigate yourself through those things, because it's a bit nuanced in terms of figuring out what the quote unquote right thing to do is, or what the right thing to move on is. But again, that's a very nuanced conversation in and of itself. So I don't know how you want to go about that, but yeah.
Well, we can dig more into it, but as we bring in Noe, who I have explained earlier is a part of the family. He is my brother. Technically, he's my brother in law. But again, we don't do the whole in law step, half, this, that, third. He is my husband's brother. He is the baby. And
Randy Watson.
now, obviously, you are a part of our family, but you also have your own blended family.
I do indeed.
Yes.
How has that experience been? What's the ups and downs?
Uh, I mean, it's pretty cool. I mean, my blended situation is, I don't know how unique it is, but I mean, it's great for me because I don't really have to deal with another party. So, like, I got like a blended, no disrespect, like a blended deadbeat situation. So it's just me. So I ain't got nothing to deal with. So, in other words, we live in good.
So you trying to say you the main father?
Yeah, I
Well,
have
he's
been
the
since.
only.
He the only.
Only.
I mean, he's had his moments here and there, you know what I'm saying? But I mean, I've tried to help and do my part, but I mean, can
One
only
and
do but
facilitating
yeah, in trying to
some
help
type of.
those. Yeah, I mean, we've met and all that other stuff, but I mean, he doesn't really do. I'm not concerned about what he's doing, essentially, because it's just like, I don't need you. You say she does, but I just do my part as if you never existed, because in reality, you ain't really ever existed to me. So, and on top of that, what is she's like 15 now? I've had this child in my life since she was like 4.
Well, we appreciate you because
Oh,
that's a blessing.
hey man, I didn't realize that y'all was together that long.
We've been together for 10 years. So
Wow.
I think she
It's
just
been
turned
a
5 that time. I've been married for 5
minute.
years now.
Oh
You
wow.
have
That's
It's
what I'm
been a
saying.
minute. Like how you forget
Oh
that?
wow.
literally turned
Okay,
around and he.
Like how you forget that? It's been a minute.
How many years you been married?
5. Married 5, together for 10.
Wow.
So yeah, you have been in her life for more than half her life.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the only thing that you think about or worry about is maybe like genetics. Like if something was to go wrong, it's kind of like, well, eh, I can't really do anything about that per se. But outside of that, I mean, you navigate her relationship and her feelings towards him and how that affects her. Like I've had to deal with that and have those conversations, but
Does she go through a lot of emotional?
not as much anymore. Growing up, she did. It was kind of just like it was hard. It was hard for her because it was just like she couldn't figure out like why he was the way he was. So it was kind of just like, yo, I'm gonna call you, and then he doesn't call, or yo, we're gonna link up and do this,
Remember
and then
that.
he doesn't do this, or yo, we're gonna, and then he doesn't do it, or like they include you in stuff, and it's like, oh yeah, we'll have her over here and this, that, and the third, and it's just like, why? Because it's Thanksgiving and you want to take pictures, because
Mm.
you weren't there for the rest of it, so it's kind of just one of those things. But for me, I kind of just stay out of it for the most part, and I just kind of let them deal with it. Like you can navigate that any which way that you feel. You know what I'm saying? If you need to talk about anything, I'm obviously here for that. But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't get in. Like I said, I don't get into it because it's kind of like unless there's never been a moment of like disrespect or anything crazy that's happened. That's the only way that I would truly insert myself in it. But outside of that, I don't get involved because for me, like I said, you ain't stopping the show over here. Like she good no matter what. So
Let me ask
Period.
you a question, Noe. So before you came on, I had mentioned in my storyline how because of the history I had with my stepfather, I chose to not really be involved in the disciplining of my bonus son. So in your situation, because he really wasn't there, what was the dynamics between you, your wife, and disciplining your daughter?
uh so they argue and we talk. So it's kind of just, they have like that typical mother-daughter relationship where they just, especially now that she's a teenager. But as far as I go, I usually do my disciplining like through my wife, or like, which I don't really have to deal with it because like I'm not really like, we tolerate different things per se. So there's things where it's kind of just like, yeah, you should probably not try me like that. And then it's just that simple. You know what I'm saying?
For
Like,
example,
just, I don't know, like, you shouldn't have the same smart mouth with me that you have with your mom because I'm not her. And like, I'll just do random stuff. Like, I ain't gonna beat you up or nothing, but it's kind of just like all that stuff that you love. Like, I don't care. Like, I cut cords, I take things, I do like, I remove doors from hinges. Like, I can make it real uncomfortable around here. Like, I am not the one to play with like that. And I tell my wife, I'd be like, yo, you mad soft. So I'm like, you be punking out. All right. You say you making us look bad.
so do you think that is harder with you and her because of the fact that she may feel that she has more of a say so in the situation, or
No, because like, so my wife makes it fairly easy. Like she'll be like, oh, can I do this? And she'll be like, go ask him. Or what about this? Well, he said no, not until you clean your room or whatever. Like, so she like enforces it and stuff like that. So it makes it easy for me. But between them two, she definitely knows what she can and cannot get away with and who she can get away with. So like she'll like she might say something smart, but she'll say it like in the bathroom after she turned on the shower or something, and I can't
Well,
hear
you
it.
can't hear it.
But then like but when she's with her mom, you know what I'm saying, she'll say something smart like, so, and I'll be on the couch like, You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, oh, so you just gonna let her say that to you? Like,
Yo, Nobi be like, ooh, tag me in it.
There's a
That'd be
there's
it.
a there's a prank on social media, a video going
Yes,
around of it of it's like to prank the dad. So the mother or
yes,
whoever will be arguing and they have to tell the mother to shut up. You should
Oh
see
yeah,
how
yeah,
yes,
quickly these fathers be getting up.
yes. Hello, what?
I don't understand why people do these pranks. Like that, it's dumb. Cause you're playing with your life. You're literally
Yes.
playing with your life.
So there's somebody
Especially
that be
if
taking
you got
stuff, throwing it,
if
and they be
you
like,
got
shut the
that
fuck
dad. Mm-mm.
But what I love about those pranks, most of them be white folks.
up.
So they show that black children are not the only ones that get their ass beat. The way daddy pop up, ready to punch somebody out.
Yeah, he be ready.
I think that the part with the kids is probably the hardest thing to do with the whole blended family thing, because you have people like Will Smith and his ex-wife Cherie, and Kevin Hart and his ex-wife Tori, um, and I know for a fact that, well, not for a fact because I don't know them, but they all speak about how hard it was in the beginning
Mm-hmm.
because
You know what it is? Because everyone has to know what role they play and what power they have or don't
Mm-hmm.
have in that situation. And I think that's the hardest part. And then a lot of times some kids, not all the kids, but some kids have a way of manipulating situations
Mm-hmm.
and making it harder on all parties involved.
I'm
So
glad you said that.
Well, I think to expound upon that, I think men and women have different approaches to blended families, or at least different perceptions to it. Like, I think men, because if you think about it, I think it's blended families, or to be a blended family requires a lot of mental fortitude to some degree, because in nature that really doesn't happen, right? If you have a lion pride, for example, and you have a female lion that has children already and she mates with a new male lion, the male lion will literally kill the kid because it's not his.
damn.
Literally, like, this doesn't really happen in nature, right? To have offspring with somebody else and share with.
or their name Scar, was the name Scar?
No. But think about it, right? If you have two blended families, it's initially very difficult for two alpha males to share the same space because it's not natural. As men, we're really not accustomed to
Mm-hmm.
sharing what we consider to be ours, so to speak. Not that, women and children are property, but if
That
genetically
got
speaking,
territorial
right,
for sure.
territorial, that's a better word
Mhm.
for it. So to kind of relinquish that level of assertiveness or control of that situation is a bit of a mental or uphill mental battle, at least for men. But I'm sure women are more accepting of it, I guess is the
No,
word I'll
I don't think
use.
so, because Yvette is dealing with a blended situation.
I mean, do
Yeah,
you feel that same way?
Wait, you married?
it's no, I'm not married. Not
Oh,
married. No, but my my boyfriend, we've been together for about 2.5 years now. And it's been extremely hard, especially like how they say you can't have two queens in the kitchen. It feels as it feels as if it's that. But as long as with her mother, I never disrespect her mother or anything. I know who she is, she know who I am. But also when it comes to disciplining, well, my baby, she's about to be 4 next week. So when it comes to disciplining, I definitely leave that to him in a sense of, like, if he hits or pops or whatever. But when she's in my care, she's going to know who authority she has to follow. Because I don't believe in just because you're not this, you're not going to listen to an adult. Absolutely not. I grew up with, you better not act out outside, or whoever, the neighbor or whoever could sit there and pop you if you was acting up. Not saying if I'm going to do it, but they, and even he in the beginning, like I would tell her no or so, and then he was like, no, it's okay, she could come. And I'm like, you have to stop doing that, because in front of, if you, especially if you're doing it in front of her, it's going to give her the thought that she doesn't have to listen regardless of who is there. So when he finally got that, he was just like, you know what, he backs me up if I tell her no. He, you know, he's very supportive in regards to that, because she's under our care when she's with us. So it was
But
hard for
I
sure.
think that with what you said, with the you know, if whoever, if it's the neighbor or this, we don't have that anymore in our communities.
Yeah.
That doesn't exist within our community, and I'm
Like we
talking
had to
about the,
respect
yes,
anybody. And if
I'm
we
talking about the
report,
diaspora in general.
right.
Yeah.
We don't have that anymore. Before, growing up, I know when Shauna and I were young, with the village that we had as youth, any and everybody was allowed to be like, you know,
Yeah.
anybody and everybody was allowed to do that.
But
And
it's still now, if we go around anybody in our village, I go back to a kid.
I'm almost 50 years
like,
old.
yes, ma'am.
I turn into a little girl. I'd be
A
like, yes,
little
ma'am.
girl, yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
You know,
No,
when
sir.
I go around
No,
them,
sir.
I turn into that little girl.
Amen.
Right. Like
And
we
I'm
had no
just
choice.
like, you need anything? Like,
Right.
they be like, they need something to drink. I'm going to get it. If they need something, I'm like, okay, you know.
So,
Not
question
now.
question for everybody: how can we, and for lack of a better word, mesh the blended family dynamic, a successful blended family dynamic throughout the community?
I think everybody has to put their own
Yeah.
personal feelings aside
Mm-hmm.
and make sure the family comes first. So it's not about me, and I may not like what so and so did to me, but because of, let's say, I'm going to use Chris, and with his other family, it's always been about him. So
Mm-hmm.
I don't care if they're there. I'm like, hey, let's do this. Let's go out. It's about him.
Yeah. And I
So I
like,
think if everybody does that, then it can get back to the way it was.
and like even with me, when I handle, you know, my boyfriend's child's mother, even if we have problems, that child would never know that we have problems. To her, I make it seem as if she got the best mother in the world. In my head, I might be like, you know, but
Okay.
at the end of the day, you never, like, I never want her to get the picture that her mother is any way other than super mom, if she really is around and everything like that. So I think, like Shauna said, we definitely have to put our feelings aside for the sake of the kids, because at the end of the day, they didn't ask to be here. So
At
it's
all.
just like, what you gonna do?
You know, this topic actually is bringing a lot of childhood memories to the surface. Um, I came from an era where we were, as kids, really, like how you said, we was very respectful to a fault, and so there were things I saw about my stepfather that I never mentioned to my mother. Now, mind you, I can say this publicly. My stepfather never laid a hand on me. I don't even think I got a beaten by him. He never sexually abused me. He physically abused my mother, so that's one of the traumas I had to deal with, seeing him beat up on my mom. But I had to sit there respectfully and watch him and her go through their trials and tribulations. And not one time did my mom ever come to me and ask me, "Are you okay? Are
Mm.
you okay with this situation I'm in with your stepfather?" And like I said, he was evil to begin with anyway. So years later, I remember when I was dating my now husband, um, at this point, him and her had been off and on. Where one minute they're together for 6 months and they break up, but they were still married by law. So the time I met my husband, me and my mom were two bachelorettes living together. And but I was young. I was like 21, 2021. And he had came by and me and my hubby were in the bedroom, right? So my mom was fine with it,
Doing
that
what?
was
Doing what? What were you guys doing?
They were
I
playing
don't want to hear
spades.
that about my brother.
They were playing spades.
They was in
That's
prayer.
right, sis. Tell
They
him
was in prayer.
Playing dominoes.
the door was closed, right? That was
Park
during-
easy.
Virtue easy.
Oh, he
Tab-
had a problem.
Twister.
He didn't say nothing at that time. So then the next day, I came home from work or school. My mom was like, just to let you know, I'm not even gonna say his name. He whoever he was, he had a problem with you and him in the bedroom. Mind you, that I'm gonna say that nigga done paid not one bill in that apartment, not one, not even for a damn nothing, right? When I tell y'all, I went the F off. I lost my mind. I had diarrhea. Everything I went through from a kid up until that point, I let it
Came out.
And my mother was like, I didn't know all of that. Like, I wish you had told me that years ago. And I was like, Ma, I couldn't tell you years ago because you didn't want to hear it from me. So I said, but now I'm telling you, and I'm like, I put my foot down. I was like, he don't have rights in his house. He don't have an ounce of rights, and he cannot tell me what I can do in our house. And that caused some friction amongst the three of us. But I was like, F you, like who the F is you? So so every time he came over, she was you like try to make sure that my boyfriend wasn't coming over at the same time he was coming over because she didn't want me to be disrespecting the house. I'm like, yo, that man, I don't like him. I told her I do not like him. So, like I said, this show is really bringing up some memories that I hadn't thought about in so long. So I don't know if I should be thanking y'all or cursing y'all out. Now I need some therapy. Shit.
No. I'm sorry, Steve.
Yeah, now I'm gonna be going to sleep with this on my mind.
And another thing. Another thing.
I remember when Facebook, he tried to friend me on Facebook. Fuck out of here.
I know this. You was just like, I know you fucking lying.
I know this nigga ain't asking me to be friends on Facebook. Fuck you. In your face.
And the broom you wrote it on.
She probably paced around that whole house for a good 10 minutes talking to herself.
No, looking at her phone.
No, this nigga did.
Request.
How fucking
You could request these nuts.
I wish I was a fly on that wall when that happened. I would just.
Oh my God. Yo, crazy. You might have met my stepfather, Yvette. You might have met him.
Child, everything was a blur. Okay. I don't know who was who. There was 10 million uncles. This one was this one. I don't know.
You was
little.
Like,
yeah,
you
I was
was
like
little.
5, 6, 7, like
You was-
around that age.
Yeah, you were little.
I just remember being with either Cho or Keisha all the time. Like I was always with you guys. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because when it was, well, Elsie was not there. So, but hey, girl, hey, sis. Thank you for the pineapple soda. Thank you for doing my hair, sis.
Because when you were little, Chris used to be like, "Is Auntie Yvette still little?" Because y'all were like, what, 4 or 5 years apart?
Like,
5 years
5
apart.
years apart.
That's still my nephew. I don't care what nobody say. I'll be saying to the girls, but every time they were like, Yvette, I'm like, who?
But that's a factor with blended families because you have a lot of nieces and nephews that are younger than that are older.
Older.
Yeah. And I
Boy,
love
it's
it.
like
You better
And
not
they
call
still
me.
be like,
five
oh, gee.
of them. Yeah, it's like
Elsie,
five
Elsie
of
was
them.
still having
Auntie-
kids while his kids was having kids.
Yep.
Like I have a grandniece. Who has a grandniece at like 31? Like, like, how does that
I
even
do
work?
have a grandniece.
We have
You have
grandnieces
grand
and
nieces
nephews
and
and grandnephews.
and grandnephews.
Yeah, just drop the
You're
grand for your
right.
own sake.
Huh?
Say just drop the grand for your own sake. Just call me for your purposes.
Yeah. It's a blessing though.
It's a blessing. Stay tuned for scenes from the next episode.
Yeah, I'm gonna need some therapy. Kaya, this is all your fault.
He said, I am triggered.
This is a very dark show now.
I'm so sorry. I'm so very sorry.